Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from an isolated room at Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host Raghunath and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the return, welcome back episode. This is the longest break we ever took, right?
Well, in a while, for sure. Yeah, I think I know we took a long one when we first started, when we went to Vrindavan. And then we couldn't find a place to do it for a few days, and then we traveled back home. But it was a long stretch. How you feeling? You feeling better?
I've been sick, which means I had to cancel chant camp. I got a lot of I thought I was going to get a lot of hate mail. Hey, why are you sick? You should be at chant camp. I bought my ticket, but I got a lot of love mail, and I'm still accepting recover Raghu love mail. I'm still accepting prayers.
Well, I'll tell you,
got to send me a little prayer on the message board, and I think that will help. I actually believe in group prayer. There's a power of group prayer. Group prayer,
okay. Well, we missed you for real. You know, we had a great time, but all along we were like, "Where's Raghu and where's Mara?"
Well, you know what, Mara. I found out that Mara can't do anything without me. That's what I found out. Right. She's like, "Oh, Raghu's not going. I can't go." I was like, "Why not? You got to go there, meet people, talk." I don't want to go. I can't.
I met a lot of great people there. You know, she would have liked it. Mara would have enjoyed it.
She only will do things if I do them.
Anyway, you know who I met? So I'm hesitant to like start naming names because I met so many great people. I met people that I knew of that I never
mysterious met. Others. Huh?
I met people that I didn't know of that I met, and I met people that I do know that I met. You know, and all around they were great.
I didn't even follow that.
In other words, people that, you know, like were just in Italy with us, for instance, were there, you know. But you know who I hung out with, which was really great, was Yamuna from Happy Girl Kitchen.
Oh, Yamuna Jelly. That's what her name is saved at, is on my phone.
She only makes one jelly, by the way. Mostly she makes jam.
Oh,
did you know that?
Excuse me.
She only makes one jelly.
Well, you foodies, I made a mistake.
She made that point to me.
There's a difference between jelly and jam.
And but she's very cool. Her daughter, Jayashree, also very cool. And I had a chance to just kind of hang with them because, you know, that was nice. And met so many great people. It was, you know, I also stayed with Vaisheshika Prabhu and his wife Nirakula. Really great. We did we did some talks. I posted one talk I gave that was like the sunrise talk that we went up to the top of this hill, and really nice. And
Jayashree called me yesterday, the organizer from California, and she said it was beautiful. The talk was beautiful. The setting was beautiful.
It was. So that's on our well, at least the setting was beautiful. I'm not saying the talk was beautiful, but I did my best. But that's posted for our Patreon members. How does one become a Patreon member?
Patreon member, you go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages, and then you get access into vaults of transcendental goodies.
So that's one of them. That's the latest one up there, was that sunrise talk. But I got others. One that I gave is like an hour long, just kind of, it was, and then I did another thing.
Make sure I don't laugh today. I need to just chill out. I pushed myself too much yesterday.
Well, you know, I think Krishna's telling you to slow down, Raghunath. Maybe you have to slow down, you know? Maybe. But anyway, there'll be good stuff going up on Patreon. And another talk that I gave, I don't even talk is the right word, but it's like Vaisheshika Prabhu and myself going back and forth with the rest of the group too. So I think it's a fun one. I think it's worth checking out.
All right. Sounds.
But we missed you, Raghunath. We did. We missed you there, and I think everybody in general did. So
yeah.
Welcome back.
Thanks. Mara, the workaholic, she's just like, okay, I'm going to go straight back to work. I was like, you got the weekend off, Mara. Just take the weekend off.
Well, maybe she needs to slow down a little bit too.
Hey, I just do want to make this announcement. And Mara will be there then. But Wisdom of the Sages is doing a retreat in Colombia.
Cali,
Colombia in, I think it's January 9th. Its spots are extremely limited and the price is right. We priced it very good. But we're gonna be there the whole month because I'm not feeling well. I canceled my Colombia trip that I'm supposed to be there right now, actually.
Right.
So me and Bobby Marchand's Bhakti, Yin, and Restorative Workshop is pushed back to January 2nd.
Okay.
And so that's still available now.
So you can go there for January 2nd and take the Yin Yoga retreat and then go right into the Bhakti.
Yep.
Right
you
into
can
the
take them both.
Wisdom of the Sages retreat.
Yep. If you do both, we give you a little discount.
And then there's one after that.
Right after the Wisdom of the Sages one is me and Madhu do the Kirtan Academy.
Nice. So it's like a whole month of.
It's a whole month of getting the hell out of upstate New York. What do you think about that?
Right. Oh, Mary's going to be there. She's like, oh, I'll be there.
Mary, yeah, that'll motivate her.
Yeah.
It gets to be like The Shining up here, you know.
What happens in The Shining?
You remember The Shining?
I didn't see it.
Two little girls walking through the hallway, and there's blizzards out, and what's his name comes in with the axe.
Okay.
No. Okay.
I know about those girls, but I never saw the film. But you mean it's cold and
it's cold.
creepy?
There's an axe.
Okay.
There's an axe. There's little children carrying weapons.
All right.
You're trapped in an abandoned hotel. Okay. All right. Well, let's dive into transcendental subject matters. But you know what I have been doing? I've been really
But before we do that, let's talk some more.
I want to tie it into Krishna here.
All right.
Because there's every reason when you're sick. Like I'm gonna make a full-on confession here.
Okay. Let's hear it.
And get public. I couldn't chant japa for first 3 days. Couldn't chant japa.
Really?
Couldn't worship my deity. I couldn't even do a manasa, mental deity worship. I was like that, out of it.
Oh my goodness.
And then a couple days ago, I started chanting my japa again. But
Okay.
I just had the opportunity, you know, that verse, Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Surida Sarva Bhutanam, that Krishna, it's like woven into the teachings of what we're teaching, is that Krishna is the supreme friend.
He
and
is.
therefore, whatever we got is
Suridam
for our benefit.
Sarvadehinam, right?
Surida Sarvadehinam. He's the friend to everybody. And friends don't want to see people suffer. They want to see them grow, right? Like sometimes we get a little test.
So
Parents say, you know what? You want the car? You got to mow the lawn.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so, come on, Mom, just give me the car. But how often do we grow when we get, I mean, every parent knows this. Give the kid whatever they want and they'll grow. Not.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You got to give them some challenge. You got to make them, there's got to be some tension between some give and take.
A little healthy tension.
A little healthy tension. If you just spoil the child, they get nothing. So I felt like Krishna is taking away my connection to the body as myself. And I had to say, you know what? It's not my body. If Krishna wants to take away this health, then okay, Krishna, I hear you. It's not my body. If you want to take it away and help me become detached from the body. And so it's been, in one sense, it was like painful. In another sense, it's been an interesting experiment as well.
Okay. Well, life is one big
taking shelter.
Right?
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. Taking shelter of Krishna. Get bitter. No, get better. Don't get bitter.
Okay.
Don't get bitter. Get better. That's our tattoo of the day.
Our first one, anyway.
Yeah.
Don't get bitter. Get better.
By the way, I am probably gonna get. Karuna just wrote me a private message.
She does that.
Our 8-year-old. She does private me only.
No, I get some too.
You get some? Okay.
I do.
She wrote me. She goes, I know the Bhakti-yogi verse. She just. Isn't that cute?
No kidding. Maybe we should go live to her right now. Unmute her.
Okay.
That would be putting her on the spot.
Put her on the hot seat. Karuna, Mary, you got this?
Yep, I'm asking on mute.
Oh, what should I say?
You know what to say. The Bhakti-yogi verse. You got this?
Oh, yeah. Bhaktaram Yagatapasam Sarvalokkamaheshwaram Suratam Sarvabhutanam Yadvamam Shantim Richati.
Boom.
Pretty
Look at that.
impressive.
That Karuna,
Mara,
that
you
was
know that
excellent.
one?
No.
Do you know the? Can you give us the translation, Karuna?
I don't know the translation.
Okay.
It's okay. It'll make more
Good
sense
enough.
as you get
Good
older.
enough. Good
And
enough.
how old are you? 8?
Yeah.
We're impressed. We're really impressed here. I'm
very
impressed with your
impressed,
mom
too.
as well. Good job, Mom.
Good job.
Because I was doing on another like game, and like you had to memorize verses from the Bhagavad Gita, and that was one of them.
Well, you
You're
did a really
incredible.
good job on it. Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam. It means Krishna is like he's the one that you offer everything to, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's your sacrifices, your yagna, or your tapasa, the austerities that you perform, he's the Bhoktaram. He's the one that's meant to receive it. Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. And he's the Lord of Sarva Loka. He's the Mahesh. He's not just the Ishvara, right? There's different control. Ishvara means like the controller, the person that's ruling something. And so, but he's not just Ishvara, he's Maheshwar. He's like the big ruler, right? So Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, for all planets. He's the ultimate ruler of them. So that sounds a little scary, right? Yeah. Everything's meant to be offered to him. He's the big lord and controller of everything, but he's also Raghu?
Surya Sarvadehinam.
Yeah, he's the dear friend, right? The very dear friend of every living entity. And if you realize this, if you get this message, then
You don't get bitter, you get better.
well, I don't think it says that exactly, but it's kind of like
It
that.
says something like that.
Yeah, that one attains shantim, right?
Yeah.
God from
That's
shantim,
how you
which
find
teach.
peace.
Knowing this, you find peace. Yeah.
Prabhupada called that the peace formula.
The peace formula.
If you actually want peace in this world.
And Karuna knows it at such a young age. She's
At such a young age.
And now what that does is that at least pulls her into a tie with Mara for like shloka memorization. They're each at 1. We know that they're at least both at 1, right?
Mara's at
I
1.
think Karun is probably ahead of me.
She may be.
She's also speaking from her second language too. And she probably knows another language on top of that.
She's much more intelligent.
Okay, but
Thank you,
anyway.
Karuna.
We did have a thing that like anytime any of us goes out to California, Mara's supposed to learn a shloka, right?
Well, that's why she didn't go, maybe.
Did that mean that that means when she goes to California, when anyone goes to California?
Yeah, maybe she just didn't go because she didn't want to learn a verse.
It could have been.
That was our rule. Go to California, learn a verse.
It could have been.
Colombia, that's 2 verses. Okay.
Columbia, yeah, another verse.
2 verses, Mara. You're top of your class at the private school. Come on.
Maybe we got to get Karuna involved in our shloka.
Did they just
chanting.
pay your way in there? I thought you had to be qualified to get into that girls' school. Did you just like
They
write
just
a
take
big,
the money.
Papa Tony just write a big fat check? Here,
They just take
this-
the money
Take,
and they-
take this girl, do something with her. I thought you were like very high intellect IQ to get in the doors of what's it called again?
Emma Willard.
Emma Willard. Yeah, I thought you had to really be qualified.
They let anyone in.
Mara, we love you. Okay. All right.
All right, we ready to go?
Yeah, we are. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who's praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Milatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers have opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. You know, Kaustubh,
Yeah.
it's important in my spiritual life every now and then just to stop and take a prayer that we say regularly in a
Think about it.
perfunctory way.
Mm-hmm.
Take that prayer, you like that, Mara? And
Perfunctory?
you take perfunctory, and you take it apart and you just hear it again and again. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. I mean, I can run with that. If I think about if I can think about my activities, my thoughts, my choices, my crazy friends, you know what I mean? If I could really meditate on that, then you start to appreciate what a gift of spiritual life you have, what a gift of spiritual friendship, spiritual activities, spiritual recreation. We did our chant camp this weekend. That was spiritual recreation. So it fills you with gratitude, and you realize just handed to us by the mercy of Guru. So nice to think like that, huh?
You do have to, that is, I think, part of what it means to be, we use the word mindful, or we could say thoughtful, but it's true. The spiritual practices, I'm going to say often or generally, but probably pretty much always, they're going to need some kind of repetition, so that things sink in. But when you get into that, so then you begin to regulate things. I'm going to do this every day, or I'm going to do this so many times a day. But when you do that, there's the danger that it just becomes mechanical. You're just doing it to check it off the list.
Yeah, we're not trying to be Sanskrit robots.
Yeah, right. And so yeah, that's exactly what you have to do. You got to grab something that you do every day, and you got to examine it and think about it and meditate on it and ask someone what they think about it and what they know about it and what they've realized about it, and then then you know what? Then it goes one step deeper, right?
Yeah. And then it just comes out of your mouth like you're talking, and then you're going through something in your life. Oh, I'm a little sick today. Surya Sarvadehinam. And you're like, oh, Krishna, you're my friend. You're my friend, Krishna. It'll just spontaneously come out.
That's what we need to get. That Krishna is our friend. I'm going to see if I can post this today. Marissa was filming stuff from who we were with in Italy. And the very end of the weekend thing, Vaisheshika Prabhu and I were doing that kind of talk where we were going back and forth, but it was just kind of like it wasn't like a formal presentation. It was just like, we were just throwing stuff out there and people were throwing stuff back and we were just going with it, And someone brought up the pastime that we will get to maybe about, I don't know, a year or two from now, which is in the 6th canto, right? We're in the 3rd canto.
Moving slow.
Oh, yeah, relatively. But in the 6th canto, there's the story of Ajamil.
Oh, yeah.
Right, who was like, he kind of grew up as what we call like a paka brahmana, right? Paka.
Paka, that's a good word, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mary, you know what paka means?
You know paka?
Yeah, like clean and first class.
Karuna knows.
It means highly qualified brahmana.
Yeah.
Clean, first class, does everything right. Kaustubha is a paka brahmana.
I'm not a paka, but and I think that word is actually like in England, that word has kind of become like adopted into the.
Oh, really? It's become
lexicon.
Integrate paka.
Yeah, I believe.
I'm a sucka brahman.
Sucka MC, and maybe we got to become a paka MC, Raghunath.
Paka MC.
So
it's a great word. It's one of those
paka. Yeah.
Okay, it's a great word.
It makes sense when you get it and you apply it. Oh yeah, that's the right word. Like we just before we started, one of the people we met, there was this girl Radhika, right, who gave I unfortunately missed her talk during the chant camp, but I could see she was paka, right? Like she was just like a paka, brahmani. She just like, she knew the culture. She acted according to the culture. It was like kind of ingrained in her character, does things correct, That's the way we say now, like you come correct, like that's paka, right?
Yeah. The opposite of that is actually kacha. Have you heard that?
Kacha? No, I didn't know that.
Kacha and paka. Okay. Kacha means sort of second class.
Oh.
Like puris. Puris, if you're eating in India during a feast, paka is anything fried in ghee. Like puris, that's called paka also.
Quality. Yeah.
And then chapatis is considered kacha. Sort of second class.
Okay. You see, you learn something here every day. Paka,
kacha,
and kacha. Kacha. Got it. I'm gonna remember that. Mary, you gonna remember that?
Yeah.
Karuna's already got it down. Okay. So anyway, he was a paka brahmana. This person Ajamil, right? And then one day he just witnessed a man and a woman doing their thing out there in the forest or something, right? He was, I don't know where they were or something like that, but it sunk into his mind and he became infatuated with a woman who was a prostitute. And then he got to know her, and then he began to give up everything for her, and he left his own family and his own wife, and became a criminal to support her. He went downhill.
Happens. People just take one wrong turn,
Yeah.
right? It's a slippery slope, material choices.
You
Make
one
one
wrong
bad
one.
choice.
Yeah.
Ever do that? You take one bad choice, and next thing you know, you're making a second bad choice.
That's right.
And sometimes that slope is very steep. Ah!
So he went down that slope big time, and his whole life just became. It was the opposite. It wasn't even kacha. It was like, what's worse than wasn't even
Malecha.
Malecha. Okay.
Malecha means you start acting outside of the Vedic culture.
Right. So
Malecha.
in a big way, and so when it was it was his time. It was the moment of his death, and he was lying on his bed, and just as he's dying, he could see the Yamadutas coming, and over a year ago when we had Ganesham Prabhu on the show, who's like a end of life kind of minister, he said that all the ministers, and even though like the ones that have been doing this job for 30 years, 40 years in the hospital and so on, when they talked about the Yamadutas, the messengers of death that come and they take your soul down to experience it's the reactions that it's due. He said that they all knew about that. Like, in other words, they all had many times encountered people describing these beings coming and pulling them, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes they don't quite finish, and people describe what they went through, and so that's what happened to Ajamil. That they were coming, and then in that stage of fear, he called out to his son, whose name happened to be a name of Lord Vishnu, Narayana. And when he called out that name, Narayana, then the Vishnu Dutas came, the messengers of Lord Vishnu. And then so you had the messengers that were trying to drag his soul down to the hellish planets to experience all this, negative, heavy, bad reactions. It's terrifying, right?
Yeah.
And then you had these beautiful four-armed beings, the messengers of Lord Vishnu coming, and they're like, halt, right? You can't take him. And there was a debate that went on. Well, why can't we take him? Look at his life. Look what he did. He had a wonderful wife. He left her, just completely abandoned her, and then became a criminal, to support this other woman that he just became infatuated with, just because of his, just all coming from his lower nature, and he caused so much pain and so much harm. He deserves this, right? And then but the messengers of Lord Vishnu, he called out Vishnu's name. Right, he called out that name just completely helplessly. So it's
All right,
our
so the
duty.
big question is, Kaustubha,
Yeah,
he called out Vishnu's name, but he wasn't calling for Vishnu.
he was.
He was calling for his son, who was named Narayan. So
Yes.
why does he get the benefit?
Well, this
Like
is
if I was like Al Capone, and and at the time of death, someone, I'm gonna kill you, Al, and they go to kill me, and I'm standing under the Ramada Inn, and I just say, that's a hotel, and I just say Ramada, like, and I just like say Ramada, and I'm gonna get benefit for saying Ramada Inn.
Well, this is
Come on, how does that make sense?
You know how it makes sense?
Yeah.
Because Krishna is the Suridam Sarvadehinam. He's the loving friend of every living being. He's taking any excuse he can get to help us.
Well, that's a nice way to put it.
That's the point. Is we need that's where we started this whole thing, right? Like, we need to realize just how much of a friend he is to every living being, right? If we can understand that, and how are we going to understand that? We have to read these descriptions. We have to think about it, meditate upon it. There's so much powerful, practical information in these books that it should increase our faith as we begin to practice it. And as that faith begins to increase, when we hear the descriptions of the character of Vishnu, the character of Krishna, we realize, oh, he's so soft, he's so kind, he's so loving. He's just trying to give us a break at every turn, And that example of Ajamil is a big one. That should help us understand that even if we do the slightest little thing right, he's right there to help. He's right there to save us, And he'll send those beautiful Vishnu Dutas, messengers of Lord Vishnu. Okay, we ready?
All right, that was a good story.
All right.
Now we're going to go into another good story. We're on chapter 21 of Canto 3, text.
Incorrect.
No, we're on Canto 3, chapter 25, text 21.
There you go. Okay. So we chanted our mantras, right?
By the way, if I was paka, I wouldn't have whistled.
Oh yeah, whistling
right?
is not
Whistling
the
is
Vedic
not
thing. They don't do that.
considered.
It's like, what are you
Vedic.
doing? Why are you making that strange sound?
Yeah.
Okay,
I was whistling in a kitchen at the Brooklyn
Whistling
Temple, and I
away.
got ridiculously chastised.
Okay. So what's going on here, Raghunath? Do you remember? It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
We were
I
together.
don't remember anything.
Okay, so
I can barely remember what happened yesterday.
after many chapters of building up, we've finally gotten to this samvada, this conversation between Kapila and Devahuti. Between Kapila, who is a avatar, an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, come specifically for the purpose of helping people, giving people jnana, giving people knowledge, spiritual knowledge, by which they can differentiate between what is matter and what is spirit, and through the strength of that, free themselves from their bondage and suffering. And his mother, Devahuti, these two are going back and forth. And Devahuti, she's coming forward like a disciple. We can see the dynamic of the guru-disciple going on here, where she's like, she's got her life focused, right? I'm not interested anymore in trying to enjoy the material things in this world. I realize that formula ultimately doesn't satisfy. I recognize the problems of material life and where it leads. I need some help. I need the right goggles. I need the right knowledge to see the world through. Can you help me with this? And so now that conversation has finally started, and he's speaking to her, and he's sharing thoughts. And he began. We were reading yesterday. He's consoling her. He's encouraging her that if you see things correctly, then all of those material attachments are so deep rooted, right? That you'll overcome them. And he said something that's really interesting, Raghunath, and something worthy of taking note of, is that commonly when people get to that point that Devahuti's at, right, we're like, okay, I get it. Anything that I try to enjoy in this world, the nature of it is like a coin with two sides. It's got enjoyment as one side, but suffering is the other side. Whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
I want to eat a bag of Doritos, right?
Right.
You start eating, you're like, oh, there's enjoyment with this, but in the end, there's suffering with it. Right?
Sure.
You get that.
That's material
indigestion.
life.
Yeah, yeah. Even
Rajas and Tamas is when we play out of those boundaries even more. Like if I want something more enjoyable, that's okay.
Reactions.
Just more suffering.
More suffering. Yeah, yeah. And so
that's why Sattva is sort of like right down the middle. It's still going to have a little enjoyment and suffering, but you're a little bit more peaceful.
But because your passion is reduced, the reaction is reduced. Right?
Yeah.
And so even the beautiful things, family life, having children, there's beautiful joys that come with that, but there's also so much anxiety, pain, fear, that comes with that.
Oh, so yeah. Tell me about it.
Okay.
I'm going through like a divorce mockumentary right now.
Okay.
We gotta get this thing live. We could make a fortune from it.
Okay. Make a what do they call it? This television show, reality show out of it.
Yeah.
But if you brought in the Bhagavatam into it, that would be a very fascinating show, actually. I guess that's
help.
what this show is.
That's what this is. We're bringing the Bhagavatam into my life. I'm trying to save my ass.
Okay.
Oops. Sorry.
So, careful. Hey, we have children here. We're gonna careful with the language. So where was I? What was I even talking about? Oh yeah. So Devahuti, she's got that. She recognizes that this material formula doesn't work. It may bring some pleasure, but it also brings pain with it. So when people get to that stage, commonly they think, okay, I get it. Material pleasure brings material pain. The formula for freedom, the formula for relief, is to renounce all the things of this world. If my attachments to these things has brought pain, then logically the path towards relief is the path of detachment. Let me become detached from everything, not only from the material things in life, not even just from money, comforts of home, sex or sexuality, whatever. Let me let go. Let me become detached from all of that, and then I'm free. But what Kapila Dev says here is worth taking note of. This was text number 20, the last text that we read. He said, every learned person knows very well that attachment for the material is the greatest entanglement of the spirit soul, Okay, we get that. But, and this is the part worth noting here, that same attachment, when applied to the self-realized devotees, the sadhus, that opens the door for liberation. Right? So he's saying attachment's not the problem. It's just a question of what we become attached to, or in this case, who we become attached to. And so here's the big advice that's coming across right here. This is something that you might not always get in some of the yogic teachings, but it's another step forward. It's another clarification that, hey, certainly attachment is a problem if it's misapplied. But if you take attachment and you apply it in the right direction, not only is it not entangling, but it opens the door to liberation. Huh. Important point, right?
Yeah.
All right.
It's exciting, actually.
So then comes the question. Okay, so you're telling me, Lord Kapila Dev, Lord Vishnu, in this beautiful golden-haired form. He had golden hair.
I know. It's the blonde avatar.
Yeah. So okay, Lord Kapila Dev, you're telling me that if I become attached to sadhus, to self-realized devotees of the Lord, that it opens the door for liberation. Could you please describe these people so I know who to become attached to?
Yeah.
And then this verse that we're going to hear today. This is a big one. This is a famous one. This one is an often quoted one. And it describes the symptoms of the sadhu. What does sadhu mean?
We're about to tell you.
Okay.
It actually describes what the sadhu is.
But let's share this. Nowadays, the word sadhu is maybe not...
Any dude
that's
with
got
dreadlocks, smoking a cigarette, walking around in a loincloth and looking sort of homeless, but sort of spiritual.
That's kind of what sadhu has popularly, like in India, means, like a wandering, quote unquote, spiritual person. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but they're living that life where they don't have a job. They probably got dreadlocks and a beard. They may be, half clothed or even unclothed, and they're wandering around. So that it's like that lifestyle. They call that sadhu. They call that's a sadhu, right?
So this is great because it actually says, no. And this is, again, why we study the Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Why we study the Bhagavatam, it develops discernment. Otherwise, I go to India and they say, what's a sadhu? I guess that's a sadhu. We got to be trained by the teachings, not just by public opinion of what a sadhu is.
Right. So when it comes to describe the sadhu, it's not going to do it in terms of externals. It's going to do it in terms of the quality of that person's character.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so that's text 21. Let's hear it.
Okay. You want me to quote the Sanskrit? You think I got this?
Oh, yeah.
Not looking.
I want to see you do it. Take your glasses off and do it. Let's see you do it.
Yeah, I'm not looking.
I wonder if Karuna knows this one.
You know this one, Karuna?
She doesn't know which verse it is.
Karunika.
Oh, she should know this one because her name is right in it. Yeah. Tatikshava Karunika. Do you know that one, Karuna?
What?
Do you know this verse, Tatikshava Karunika?
No.
Tatikshava Karunika.
This would be a good next one for you to learn because it's got the word Karuna in it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But I don't know it.
Okay. So here goes. Raghu, let's hear the Sanskrit.
Tatikshava Karunika Surya Sarvadehinem Ajata Shantava Shanta
Satrava Shanta.
Satrala Sadhubhushana.
Sadhava Sadhubhushana.
Sadhava Sadhubhushana.
Not bad, Raghu.
Not bad.
Well done.
The symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful, friend to all living beings.
Just like Lord Vishnu.
They have no
right?
They have no enemies. They are peaceful. They abide by the sacred literature, the Shastras, and all their characteristics are sublime. I'm going to read that again. Symptoms of a sadhu. This is how you can tell if one's a sadhu. They're tolerant.
Okay.
They're merciful. They're friendly to all living beings. It's a big one.
Oh, man.
It's a big one nowadays when we're trying to do things that are right to help the world and I end up hating a bunch of people. I'm walking around with hate. I'm not a sadhu.
No, sadhu.
The symptoms of a sadhu is that they're tolerant, merciful, friendly to all living entities. They have no enemies. They're peaceful. They abide by the sacred literature, and all their characteristics are sublime.
There's a lot covered here.
It doesn't mean that people won't hate them. Right? They killed Christ. They killed a lot of saints in the Gaudiya tradition, in the Vaishnava tradition.
But that was like one-way hate, right?
Yeah, that's one way. But they didn't hate. Haridas Thakur didn't hate back. Christ didn't hate back.
So many, right? There's so usually when we hear about the great saints in whatever spiritual tradition, usually there's someone that gets envious and hates them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They don't trust it. They're envious. They don't like that this person is bringing all this good energy into the scene here.
Who do they think they are?
Right.
Okay, I know that. I really know what they're about. They're a bunch of fakes.
Or they make up stories about them sometimes to try to destroy their reputation.
Yeah, it happens everywhere. By the way, this happens in the workplace. It happens in the family, in the extended family. But it definitely happens in spiritual circles as well, because those material diseases of finding fault, being envious, being critical of others, highlighting people's bad qualities. That's a material disease that we have.
But so we got to keep here's a hashtag, right? Keep the hate one way, right? Don't return the hate, right?
Yeah.
If the hate's coming at you, the sadhus, they don't return it, right? They just like it kind of like goes off like what were you saying, like the back of the duck? You're talking about that the other day.
Water off the back of a duck.
Water off the back of a duck. It just beads up and just rolls off, right?
I like the other one too. If someone throws a hot log at you,
Hot log, okay.
right?
It happens all the time. Someone picks up a hot log.
People throwing hot logs at me. If you don't catch it,
I think a hot coal.
right? Hot coal.
Yeah,
hot coal.
yeah.
Someone throws some hot coals at you, but you don't catch them. Has it hurt you? No.
Okay.
My point is, hate is going to come. You just don't embrace that hate.
Don't hold on to it.
We don't hold on to it because then I get resentful of the person. And that's not our position in bhakti. Our position is to love and be tolerant. We wish them well. It's a great practice.
Okay. Well, let's go through this. Why don't we go through it quality by quality, okay? And we'll share the Sanskrit here. First one is titikshava. Tolerant, right? It's going to require tolerance. Is it not? Bhagavad Gita kind of starts right there, right? Much sparshas to kaunteya. I bet Karuna could knows that one. Mara, did you ever learn that? Were you working on that one?
Let's lay off Mara. I think we dug in too much today.
No, but I think she was.
think she's going down today.
She's like, no, the little girl knows more than me. And okay.
She's going to beat herself up today and just lock herself in that kitchen.
So, that verse, much as far as to count it, I mean, it's, summer's going to come, winter's going to come. You tolerate it, right? Pleasures are going to come, pain is going to come. You tolerate it. And it's because we're getting, we allow ourselves to be rocked by all the external things that we can't focus on the spiritual.
Yeah.
So that becomes, tolerance is essential for the sadhu, right? Other things that people get upset up, get caught up in, get all tied up in, they just tolerate it.
Yeah. Once I feel resentful, right, towards anybody, we should understand I've fallen off my spiritual path. Once I'd be like, how dare they?
I'm getting
That's
distracted.
the classic mantra. How dare they? Who do they think they are?
Don't they
Once I
know
start
who
saying
I
things
am?
like that in my mind, don't they know who I am? Once I start saying things like that, I should understand I have fallen off my spiritual path.
Yeah.
So it's great to train yourself that resentment means I'm off. It's got nothing to do with them. Krishna is testing me to rise above this and become tolerant.
Okay.
What do you think we're chanting all day for? Think I'm just chanting for peace and happiness? No, I'm chanting to become a sadhu.
Okay, this is great because this is, what we're doing right here, Raghunath, is like, it's meditating on and then trying to embody these qualities. And trying to embody them means I start to practice them, like, oh, here's an opportunity to respond that way. And then you begin to train yourself to respond that way. And then you begin to respond that way naturally. And then you're a sadhu, right? Yeah. And so tolerant, things like tolerance, and the next one we're going to do mercy. These play out in the family. They play out in the workplace. They play out, just going shopping, getting on the train, whatever. You're going to have the opportunity to practice these. And in this way, it turns your whole day into a spiritual practice.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the magic.
Okay, so the sadhu is they're tolerant. We're trying to become sadhus. It means we need to practice tolerance. When things go our way, we don't get, especially this petty stuff. We get caught up in all kind of petty stuff. tolerant person just says, it's not a big deal. I can just tolerate it. That person
Yeah.
said something wasn't so nice about me. I can tolerate that.
Yeah.
You know, the things didn't go exactly the way I hoped they were going to go. I can tolerate that. No need
Right.
to spend, what to speak of investing energy in trying to make it just right. Even thinking about it or talking about it, complaining about it. No, you just tolerate it.
Yeah. Sometimes
It's
people
simple.
want to hate you. You know what I mean? They just want to hate
You're
you.
into the hate one.
No, I'm just thinking, well, that's the thing. People want to
It
hate,
is. I
hate
know.
sometimes, and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Like, you can't appease them. You just tolerate them.
You tolerate it. Okay.
Compassionate, and sometimes you gotta like step away from it.
Well, and then then there also comes this next stage, which is even beyond tolerance. They're not only tatiksha, but they're karunikaha.
Yeah.
They're merciful. What does it mean to be merciful? I'm asking you.
Merciful means then you extend yourself to a person who's not necessarily even that interested in higher values, but you extend yourself by seeing some in with them. And you actually give them something higher. Not that they necessarily are even asking for it, but
Yeah.
you offer that love to them because you deeply understand that spiritual life is what everyone needs and everyone actually wants.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That's what everyone wants. I'm convinced of that. When I meet anybody on the street, no matter what they're asking me, talking to me about, in my heart, you know, anything. I meet people who are interested in jujitsu. I meet people are interested in, yoga. As soon as I meet them, I think this person wants to connect with God. That it goes right to that default, and that therefore you feel like, how can you build a bridge? And maybe that bridge is you just their friend, and maybe that bridge is you give them a book, or you talk to them in their own language, or you give them something that they might relate to.
You know, the principle that you're getting at here, I remember Bhakti Tirtha Swami, great soul, passed away, I don't know, how long ago was it? Maybe 12 years ago or so, maybe longer. What a great soul, huh? Bhakti Tirtha
Great
Swami.
soul.
And he used to say, he wrote in one of his books that everything is related to love. It's either everything that anyone does, it's either like a manifestation of love or it's a cry for love, right? So like, and sometimes that cry for love comes out in all kind of warped ways. Sometimes it even comes out, you know, like as anger or hatred, right? But it's like that little baby crying for love. That's the way that the sadhu sees it. Like someone comes at them with some real negative energy. They're not like, how dare you say that about me? How dare you? But no, they're like, oh, this person's crying for love right here. Right?
Yeah, even their hate is a desire to be loved. They're just going about it the wrong way.
Exactly. So therefore they become merciful. The mercy means, just like in the courtroom where, like, you know, someone says before the judge, you know, I throw myself at the mercy of the court. It means I did it. I was wrong. I admit it. I'm not qualified. Like, I deserve something else, but I'm asking for mercy. That's the point, right? I deserve to be thrown in jail for the next 10 years, but I'm asking for mercy. I'm asking for something that I really haven't qualified myself for. So merciful means when I'm dealing with, the sadhu, when they're dealing with others, they're less concerned about exactly what that person deserves according to their behavior, and they want to give anyway, right? They want to help them anyway. And so that's what mercy means. And when people like that, very special souls. Right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people say, well, you got to live in a temple to practice bhakti, or do you have to like distribute Bhagavad Gitas to practice bhakti? No. There's sadhus who've never left their ashrams or never left their homes for that matter. And they can become very God conscious and realized beings. But there is a mercy factor by going out of your way. And they're still merciful in a lot of ways because they meet people. You were forced to meet people in the course of our life.
Everybody has that opportunity.
But when you're actually going out there and trying to give bhakti away, it's special mercy. It's special mercy you're giving. And you're affecting people in a big way. And so that's why I got very drawn to Prabhupada, even though there's a lot of bhakti teachers. I was like impressed, like Prabhupada's like, no, I'm not going to stay in India. I'm going to get really focused in this end of my life and just give this away to as many people as possible. And we come from a lineage of mercy.
That's true.
It's a whole lineage of people who went out of their ways and took great risks to give it to other people for their benefit. And you can see it from the ancient times of the followers of Lord Chaitanya, who traveled all over with trunks of Sanskrit palm leaves and would set up in different parts of India, to Prabhupada's guru, who initiated Germans and it had thousands of disciples all over India, to even like what went on in Soviet Russia, where these people were just like risking their lives. And still today in places like Iran and places like that, it's forbidden to even speak about anything except what the state religion is, where you actually risk your life. But people do it because they are in the mood of, this is merciful, this will please my gurus and my teachers, I'm going to do it anyway. And what can they do to me except take away my body? It's pretty impressive.
Very merciful.
I mean, how would I act if they said, Raghunath, stop the podcast or we're going to take away your body? I'd be like, I love you, Kaustubha. Goodbye.
You say you can chop my body into millions of pieces, but I'll still do the podcast. I can't stop.
I think you would say that.
I don't know. I could. But
everyone's casting votes on the chat board.
So that's correct. So we got tolerant and merciful, and because they're in order to be merciful like that, it takes a certain disposition, and that's these next two qualities. Are that disposition. One is suhridha, that means the friend, right? Do you know you're a language I'm going to give you a challenge, Raghunath, something to do, okay? And then you can share it with me.
Yeah.
But I know that in the Sanskrit language, there's quite a few different words for friendship, right? Even like, say, like in English, we can say like, that person's my friend. But if we say they're my buddy, it has a bit of a different nuance to it, right? That's like someone you're maybe particularly close to. And then there's pal, and there's different words that give just a nuanced idea of what type of friendship it is. But they say in Sanskrit, like, there's quite a few words, and they're really nicely descriptive. So suhridha is one of them, right? Suhrid. Yeah. Is one type
Find the
of
difference?
friendship. Yeah, why don't you look into that, the different words.
I'll check that out.
Different words about friendship, and bring that back onto the show. Okay?
All right.
And but here, I don't know the nuance, but it's a special kind of friendship. Suhridha sarvadehinam. Dehinam means, literally, do you know what it means?
Dehi nam.
Yeah. Dehi means?
Your body.
The body. So dehinam means, here it's translated as all living beings, but anyone with a body, anyone living in a body. So sarvadehinam means all of them, right? So suhridha sarvadehinam. They're friends to every living entity. And then that's the positive, and then like the other, countering the negative, ajata satrava. They have no enemies, right? They're inimical to no one. You got to come closer to the mic, Raghu. We can't hear you back there.
My idea, this is a great one. And you can tell a person who's getting close to them. Once you start criticizing people, that means you have some enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Criticism.
It's not good for yoga. It's not good for meditation. It's going to kill it. It's going to, your mind will never be deeply absorbed.
If you have enemies, if you're harboring resentment, finding fault with people on a regular basis, criticizing, you ain't a yogi. You're a bogey.
And you know what, Raghunath?
What?
It's because, okay, I'm going to be tolerant. I'm going to try to be merciful. I'm not going to be all judgmental about people, but I'm just going to try to help anyone that I can. I want to see everyone as a friend. I'll be a friend to everyone. I won't see anyone as an enemy. Well, what does that all lead to? The next quality. Shanta.
Shanta, you become peaceful in this world.
You become peaceful, right?
I'm not peaceful because I have issues, right? That's why I'm not peaceful. I got issues with everybody.
Everything's wrong. Everybody's
complaining about it, the world, the situation. There's no peace in my life.
There's no peace. So that it's, they are Karunika. They're active and they're helping and so on. It's not like they're just like walking away from the whole world. But at the same time, they have a peaceful mind because they're not inimical to anyone. In their acts of being merciful and being kind and trying to help, they're not bearing any kind of resentment or hatred towards any living being, and therefore they are shanta. They're peaceful.
You know what, people? We need to stop watching the news. I hate to say it, but we gotta. People, I've seen good people.
I don't fully buy into that, Roga.
I don't care. I don't care if you don't buy into it. Do I have to agree with everything?
You don't care. You don't care. I don't care what you say.
Because what happens is it drives you to hate, and I've seen really nice people become hateful. Like in the last 2 years, the news alone is responsible for good people that I know. I can't even talk to these people because it's charged like anything.
I accept what you're saying.
We got to worry about these bigger issues first. How can I imbibe this verse? Tatikshava Karuna Kasuri Sarvadehinam. Huh?
Well, I'll say this. I'll say this. I appreciate what you're saying. I was just speaking just yesterday with the Vaisheshika Prabhu about this, about just how things have developed, as you're saying, in the past couple of years, where there's very little civil dialogue. There's and so therefore there's no progress, but there's actually greater polarization, which just means greater hatred and greater pain, you know? And so I get it that the news feeds this, particularly what we call the news nowadays, because it's like nothing like the news that we grew up with when we were kids, right? Which may have been accurate or inaccurate, but it wasn't charged with, negative emotions.
For clickbait to get higher rankings. I mean, it was all there, but not as intense as it. I mean, I never, I used to watch
Walter Cronkite wasn't trying to indoctrinate me into hatred of half of the world, right?
No.
Yeah. So I buy into that now, but at the same time, I don't think for spiritual life one has to be like, oh, the news is out of question for me. I just think one has to be very careful and conscious about how they become informed. That's all.
A.J. Sullivan says, news is very rarely news. News is mostly speculation and opinion. The only news is and Carlos says, my son Carlos, the only news is the holy glories we hear every morning on the Wisdom of the Sages show. Thank you, Carlos.
Okay, Carlos.
Everybody jump to my defense right now. No, well, yeah, it's a good point. Truthfully, and we get that now. That it's sort of like if a loving couple gets a divorce, the wife is going to share her side and the husband's going to share their side. And who's right? They're both right. They both have a different vantage point, and you're going to hear. And so,
sometimes they're both right.
Well, they have their vantage point of reality, and it's generally different. Yeah. Just like if we study the American Revolution, you think the British have the same story that we have?
I don't know. Get Zoe over here. Zoe, what do they say? What do they say about us over here in our revolution?
Well, let's talk to Zoe. Zoe, they must think we're a bunch of traitors. Buckmanji's probably like, yeah, you guys, we gave you so much. We gave you this opportunity on behalf of the King George, and you just took it.
The noble King George.
It's all love.
It's all love over there. They love us.
It's paka. Y'all are paka.
People. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zoe.
Thank you.
So, okay. So, hey, we got like just like one or two more things. One or two more. They're a Jatra Sattva. They're Shanta. They're peaceful. They're and you know what's real important? They're Sattva. They abide by the scriptures. In other words, they're not faking this, right? We want to be all these things, but you do it like with good, clear instruction, and it becomes authentic and real. Yeah. There's a lot of fake sadhus out there. I'm sorry to say.
Right? There's a couple of fake sadhus running around.
Yeah, and so it doesn't work in the same way. And it says that these are the sadhu bhushana. Bhushana means?
It means like ornaments.
Like ornaments, like jewelry. Sometimes is referred to as like one's bhushana, right? Like one's ornaments.
These are the ornaments of a sadhu. Isn't that very poetic?
They're adorned with these sublime characteristics. Sadhu bhushana. They have the characteristics of a sadhu. This is what yoga is about. If you want to practice yoga for real, or just say off the mat, whatever, we want to deepen it, make it really transformative. You cultivate these qualities. This is the way. This is what you decorate yourself. Just like someone may decorate. Like say you're really in love with someone and you want to decorate you want to dress in such a way that when they see you, they'll feel very pleased and they'll smile and you're right. Yeah. So this is how the the devotee decorates themselves. These are the ornaments that they play. I'm putting on my jewelry. Women, I suppose, are more used to.
Oh,
This
I dressed up today.
I know that you used to wear those wooden earrings when we started the show. Remember, you were wearing those big wooden earrings.
Yeah.
But you look in the mirror, you're putting on your earrings and your necklace and makeup, and you're trying to, really appear beautiful for the pleasure of another.
Yeah.
Well, this is the way that the yogi tries to decorate this. These are the ornaments: tolerance, mercy, friendliness to every living being, being inimical, having no enemy in the world, being peaceful, deeply abiding in these sacred yogic teachings. This is what I'm going to decorate myself with. These are the ornaments for the pleasure of God. That's a sadhu. Not just a guy walking around with dreadlocks, barefoot, but these are the qualities of the sadhu.
That could be just a cool guy walking around barefoot.
He might not even be cool,
He might not even be cool. He could be evil.
He could be an evil.
I like it. You know what? It's
So-called phony
puncturing the externals, my friend.
Okay.
And that's why my biggest takeaway today is don't be a Sanskrit robot in Scranton.
Okay. Don't be a Sanskrit robot in Scranton. Mara, do you have any other takeaways?
We do have some other ones today.
Okay.
Better than that?
Well, I won't say they're better or worse.
We're not going to judge. We're not going to judge you.
Krishna is the supreme friend, challenging us for our growth and taking every chance for our benefit.
Nice.
Don't get bitter, get better.
Yep. We'll keep repeating that one.
Keep the hate one way, don't return the hate.
Boom.
Keep the hate one way. You know what? That needs to be clarified. Because it could be like, okay, I'll just hate everybody. That's one way.
How about don't return the hate?
Don't return the hate.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
And then I also have don't catch the hot coals of hate. What do you think of that one, Raghu?
Drop them.
Drop them.
Drop them like they're hot.
Don't even hold them.
Right.
Avoid them.
Once I get resentful, I'm off my spiritual path.
Oh, yeah.
Our entire day is an opportunity to practice tolerance.
Oh,
That's true. Mayor's like, I
The
sure
one
is. This
I
whole
need to
show is
hear.
an opportunity for
Everyone is looking for connection to God. Everything is either a manifestation of love or a cry for love. And criticism kills meditation.
Boom.
Boom. Oh, that's great. Criticism kills meditation. Neck tattoo.
Welcome back, Raghu. Good to have you back.
Good to be back. Let's see how I'm feeling tomorrow. But this is
We're
great.
at 8 a.m. all week, right?
8 a.m. all week.
Oh, that's a good
people.
point. We're at 8 a.m. all
Time.
week, the whole way through the week.
Thanks,
Okay.
everybody, for sticking around. I thought everyone's like, you know what? Wisdom of Sages was good, but I'm over it. But thanks for seeing everybody bright and early here this morning. Thanks for all the people that went to Chant Camp. If you're interested in the Wisdom of the Sages retreat in Colombia, you can should they just write you and put their name on a list right now? Because we haven't made it public because we want to
gotta get
offer
that
it
out in
to our
the next 2
listeners
days,
first.
Oh, I
Offer it
see.
to our
That's the way it
listeners, our Zoomers, and everybody first. So if you're, because space is limited, but then I'm going to put it up on my channels. So if you're interested, lock in your spot with Mara. Does that sound good, Mara?
Sure.
Just write Columbia Retreat in the. It's basically 8
The
days
subject.
starting the 9th-ish. 10th? I can't remember. I'm so sorry. 9th or 10th for about 8 days, and my birthday is happening then.
Oh. Oh, so the little dropping a little hint there. You want
Dropping
something?
a hint? Yeah, you can bring a present, whatever. It's up to you. Give from your heart. I'm not asking for anything special.
All right.